Ready Check Radio. Good evening, Internet. It's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here, over on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, our Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast. Hope you'll join us sometime. Twitch.tv/Ready Check Radio. I'm your host, Mike Byrne. As always, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on all the different podcast platforms, we appreciate it. While you're there, give us a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, a follow, a comment, whatever the hell it is that feeds the algorithms on the platforms you're watching. It's fast, easy, and free, and we certainly appreciate it. If you want to, though, and you're not sure where the socials are, ReadyCheckRadio.com, right there, that website. You can find all the socials in the upper right-hand corner. You might have a peek at the Ready Check Games store. I don't know. There's nothing on the page yet, but I officially have the paperwork. We'll just leave it at that until we're ready to talk more. Yeah. Well, I don't have the paperwork. It has not been received in my mailbox, but I have the online versions, and that's good enough.
Swag coming?
Some stuffs. Chat talking about their cars. Mazda 5, the Mom Mobile. I'm not even going to tell you how many years we drove minivans. So you're fine with your Mazda 5. Joining me to talk about Final Fantasy XIV, Square Enix, and all kinds of other stuff, including the launch of Forspoken. We've got such a great show for you tonight. Very much appreciate chat being here to throw their opinions in. Some of them have played Forspoken and have already chimed in, so we'll get to those as well. Mr. Chris Montoya, what's up, Tarkov?
Greetings, programs. You know, with the reviews coming in for Ready Check Radio, like, we're getting words like fantastic, stunning, beautiful. You know, I'm just happy to be a part of this channel and this show, so let's go.
That might make a little more sense later. So we'll go ahead and introduce Mr. Adam Lane, the Chrono Swan. What's up, sir?
What's going on? Not too much.
Look at all of that fucking Eagles paraphernalia.
Yeah.
And he comes in like, what's up?
Yeah, you know what weekend it is. It's time. Yeah.
It's time.
He doesn't allow himself to get, above happy until they're in the Super Bowl. So.
No, until they've won.
Have you met an Eagles fan? It's all the same.
Yeah, that's true.
I tried to go to the game, but the tickets were way too expensive.
Yeah. I saw they were like $850 for absolute nosebleeds. Yeah.
Before parking. Parking was like a couple $100. So, yeah. That's like more than double what I spent going in. I went in 2017 when they beat the Vikings. I was there. And it's more than double. I
just thought it was really nice of the Giants to let their practice squad get some time in a really important game. Just building up that experience. That was really nice of them. The Giants there doing, just put the practice squad out. And then I also like Jacksonville keeping it a game. Like, not a lot of people expected that to be a game. And granted, I don't think they were ever really in it.
Let alone win the AFC South.
But they kept it. But they kept it close enough that you were like, I gotta watch this to the end. It's close enough that I gotta watch this to the end. Some good games this past weekend, and a couple bad ones. So
I don't know. We'll see. That season's been over for a couple weeks for me. So
whatever. Bad is subjective when you're the team that wins by 30.
Right. You're watching that. You're just like, what is going on? And then the Bills, did Bills stuff. So. That was not great. But we'll see what happens. Championship games this weekend. Then of course we have the reworked not All-Star weekend, but that's essentially what it is. Pro Bowl games weekend with flag football and the skills competitions coming back. And then on my birthday, the Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens.
Nice.
Yeah, Sunday, February 12th. Speaking of, if we're going to talk about February 12th, February 16th, no show. We're going to take that week off. I know Kronos has something going on his personal schedule. It's my birthday week anyway, so I love you all, but I'll go do some stuff with the family. We're going to take the 16th off here on the Relic Grind. Everything else, before, after, and all the other shows, as normal, nothing changes. Just going to take the 16th off here. So, gents, let's talk about 6.31. I know there's not a lot to talk about. The big thing, obviously, being the Ultimates. Tark, I believe the last update we had was you were basically searching for a new group. Have you grouped up? Have you found people? Have you been in there yet? Like, what's your personal status?
Personal status is I've kind of so I have a group. We've been piecing together pieces, for the last like month and a half. We are working to get our last two people their actual P8S clears so they can go into Omega. I still think that they should probably eliminate that. I don't know why that's a thing. Um, but regardless, we're trying to get those clears hopefully tonight or Sunday night so that we can go in week 2. There'll be some strats out. I haven't really been watching. I've just been focusing on trying to get these two people up to snuff so we can get in there.
All right, so we'll look for updates future weeks. I know some of your group was also taking breaks, leaving for a little while, doing other things, Kronos. So what is the status? Have you been in there? Is it with your regular group? Have you made changes, or you find an alternate group? What's going on for you?
We've filled. We always wait a week. Because I mean, if you've been watching right now, there's like a bit of a snafu where like there's people think there's a bit of a debate mechanic going on right now. So there might be some relearning of a previous phase that people have already cleared, and we try to avoid that because it's like time. It's just time that you have to use to like relearn. So we usually wait a week. So I think we're either going in Sunday night or Tuesday. I don't know if it's been decided yet, but that one of those days will be our first day. But we have a full group ready to go.
We actually don't have a world first clear yet.
Correct.
We're still in process. Neverland, I believe the last time I checked, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they were in like the unknown final phase that they are not streaming. So we're kind of have to wait for other teams to stream that. But they were pretty far in it, but had not gotten the clear yet.
Yeah, we don't know if they're on the last phase or not. Most people, I think, are thinking
they're on like the P5 phase. I think.
Yeah, I think the theory is it's at least 6 phases. We don't know though. We don't know. And then right now there are people that are on phase 4, but a lot of people are theorizing that it's not the real phase 4, that it's like fake, and that we're doing a mechanic incorrectly. So the phase 4 that we're seeing isn't the real. That's the theory right now. Is that the phase that people are trying to figure out isn't what we're supposed to be seeing because we're not doing a previous mechanic correctly. Almost kind of similar to like the Codex.
Right. Yeah, newest girl, most of the top 5-ish teams going after World First are in the P4 phase. Neverland has hit the P5 phase. At that point they stopped streaming. No, I don't.
They haven't streamed. They haven't streamed at all.
Yeah, they are not. I'm not going to make any accusation about mods they may or may not use. I don't know.
It's not even a mod thing.
They're also one of those groups that is very private as far as not wanting to tip strats to other teams.
Yeah, I'm not saying they don't use mods, but it's not really the reason that people don't stream typically is because Final Fantasy, the way the raids are designed, it's very like puzzly. So like if I figure it out and I'm ahead of you, and I'm streaming
very quickly.
Basically, you figured it out by watching me. So like, and I mean, people want to win, so they're gonna like be watching other people's streams. So all the streamers are obviously watching all the other streamers, and now we've gotten to the point where like these 8-man raid groups are now like 12 people, and they have 4 people that just do like they're watching people's streams or they're like coming up with strats while the other people, all the 8 people are playing, and so not a lot, but a decent amount of the really good groups and most of the groups that end up winning don't stream for that reason because they gives them an advantage, basically like
keep their
get
strats
ahead
in
and stay ahead.
Yeah, and none of this is out of the ordinary as far as the Final Fantasy World First races. The way
it happens every race.
A lot of the teams will stream like 75% of the content and then shut it down if nobody has beaten beyond that in a race to finish things off. The ultimates, they may shut them down a little earlier. The first raids and savages and stuff, they kind of do the same thing. Right now, according to FF logs, we've got Neverland in first, getting P5 down 87.6%. Otternuts, Kindred, Alice in Abyssos, and No CCHH in that order from 2 through 5 have all been through P4 at various percentages from 32 to 70. So that's where we stand right now. If P5 is the final, what do you think as far as completion time? On average, we've been seeing Kronos anywhere from about 4 days to sometimes as long as 6 to 7 days, but generally a week. Is that going to happen here?
I think we're looking at least like if I had to bet, I'd probably say Monday or Tuesday, but like earliest I would say is Sunday. Would be my guess.
So you think somebody will ping it as usual before reset?
I think just judging off what we've seen so far, this is probably a shorter fight than DSR by several minutes. Like if I had to guess, I'm going to say this is probably like a 16 to 18 minute fight, whereas DSR, if you count the door boss, is 21 minutes. So that's substantial, I think. It's not easy though. Like I mean, the DPS checks look a lot harder than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, particularly when Yoshi P and team went into it saying we think DSR is harder.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, it may be overall, but the DPS checks, I would agree with you, have seemed to have been a lot tighter than I thought they were going to be.
I think it's mainly the phase one. The phase one DPS check is no joke. Probably one of the hardest ones I've seen that we've ever had, just for phase one. And then you kind of get like a little break, but you still mechanically have some really difficult stuff in phase two. And then phase three kind of amps back up again. And if phase three is how people are thinking it's going to be and we can't use DPS LB, then that's going to make that even harder. So it'll be interesting to see how it... But obviously, like, better strats are going to come out. We're still only, like, 2 days in.
Yeah,
so all these strats are only 2 days old, so...
Yeah, we're talking the world first race, not the, hey, now the run is optimized. And Tark, I think we got through that entire section without giving you any spoilers or help. So we have helped you we've helped you meet your goal of staying away from the content as much as possible while still being on the show today.
Like I know what the first 3 phases are, and I mean there's no spoilers with those first 3 phases. I kind of do want to be, surprised when 4 and 5 come up, but
you're gonna be surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna be surprised with a big tank buster right to your face.
I'm like, all I know is PlayStation's back. Yay! Everyone loves that.
It's harder this time, I think.
Yeah, it's harder this time.
I think so. Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, Valentino's event coming back. No surprises there. Love is in the air, baby. Coming on back. This is the time it's going to kick off on, February... I forget the date. What's the date?
I think it was the 4th. No, it's earlier than that, right?
No, that's Valentine's Day. February 1st. February 1st.
Yes, I thought it was the 1st.
It actually ends on the 15th. So the day after Valentine's Day, no love for anybody anymore. Event is over. What is on the table here? You've got your Eat Chocolate emote. You've got your Valentine's Heart desk as far as your decor items go. And then you have gear. And newest girl in chat saying, yeah, the dress is very cute. Yeah, I mean, it's if you are a glamour king or queen or just a glamour buff, great glamour here for you to go and grab. Little bit of an upset point with this, though.
Yeah.
The gear is gender specific again, and they've been getting away from this for a while now. Like they don't generally do gender specific gear anymore. Haven't for a while.
I mean, you'll even see in patch notes they'll have a long list of stuff that they've unlocked gender wise and now is available for both. So
and the Gaia outfit in the cash shop caused this too, right? Her dress was gender locked, wasn't it?
I think a lot of cash shop ones still are.
Yeah. What's weird, and so people are getting pissed at this one because why, most gear isn't anymore. You're unlocking a bunch of them. And then on top of that, Tark, data miners found that it actually wasn't intended to really be gender locked as far as in the data itself. It has the ability to not be gender locked, but they purposely gender locked it into a male and a female version. So you will get the version for the character you are on when you complete the event. So
I am just disappointed I can't wear my Valentine's dress when I step into Omega. I mean, it's just absolutely disrespectful.
I think you just lost a group. Like if any of them watch this show, I think you just lost your group. They're done. They're done.
No, they know I'm eccentric anyway, so
it's very weird. I like this is one of those things too. That's like I personally don't care. I'm not a glamour guy, so whatever. Okay, I'm on my female Makote. Great, I got the female gear. I don't care, but I can definitely see why it would upset some, and I could certainly see why it would upset some Kronos if in the data mined material
Yeah.
This isn't technically a gender-locked piece by default.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they've done this a few times with other things, but it's pretty bad. Like, just don't do it. It's really easy not to do it. I don't get it.
And
I
they've
think
already
everything.
been moving away from it. It's not like it's not like it's something that they're like, oh, we've never, you know what? Thanks for bringing that to our attention. We'll see if we can do something with our systems. They've been going back and fixing all of that because they already knew it was an issue. So to do it on outfits that people definitely want, that are very nice cosmetically and glamour-wise, that are free from the event that anybody can go do, that you want people to go do, on the characters that they want to play. I mean, this almost forces you to like, man, I really want that dress, but I've got to go play an alt, or because my main is male in the game. Like, it's very weird. It's very... What an odd, like, I think I agree with you guys. Like, when you do it on the cash shop, okay, people know what they're getting, and it's an optional purchase. And it still sucks. It still shouldn't be gender locked, I don't think. But at least you know, hey, you know what? I don't want that dress. You know, it's $5, and my character's male. I'm not gender changing just to get that cool dress. This is an in-game event, Tark. An annual in-game event.
And the thing is, we'll see in the patch notes in about a year that they fixed it. It's like
exactly.
Like, do it right the first time, knuckleheads.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's right. Copium.
We also saw, though, in the notes for 631 and Valention's event, in the different stuff that was coming out, we also saw a very small side note that said the Mog Station and the online stores payment processor is changing. And this is going to basically coincide near the Valentine's event. So if you use the Mog Station, which we do for managing our subs, or if you use the online store and you have a payment on file, payment mechanism, a credit card or whatever on file, you're going to be fine. You don't have to do anything. Your subscription will just roll over. The next time you want to make changes, whether it's to the amount of time you're subscribing, the card you want on file, the payment method, you'll be dealing with a new processor. So understand that. And while this isn't probably going to affect many people here watching this show in the West, there are some payment methods, particularly ones used more in the East, that are no longer being accepted. So if you have those payment methods, you will need to go and take some action on your account when the payment processor changes. Why am I bringing this up? Who cares? Well, Tark, I mean, it feels like just last week.
Maybe just last
it
week,
feels
the week
like
before?
Just last week, the week before, last week, we talked about some rumors.
Sure.
And one of those was the long-rumored subscription unification possibility between 14 and 11. Now, this doesn't mean that they're making the Mog Station, they're changing to the processor that uses 11. If anything, they should have changed it the other direction if that was the plan. But the fact that they're changing a processor here, does this give you a little more hope for a subscription unification, or is it just totally coincidental that the rumor came out and they happen to be doing this at the same time? Or in the future weeks, month, should we be watching to see if there's a payment processor change on Final Fantasy XI's side as well? What do you think?
Okay, so in the vacuum of just this one item, I think it's just coincidental. If we get information, and I talked about this with some friends, like I don't see them doing a Unity unless they do, and I talked about this last week, unless they like rebuild a game, do a rebirth type of deal. There's no reason to change and fix the whole back end on 11 and merge it into Mog Station, provide that, subscription bundle, unless you're going to provide something new in 11 that's going to make people want to say, oh, I want to try this out. Because if they merge them together, it doesn't make me want to just play 11 all of a sudden. I'm not going to add that to a bundle. But if they make a rebirth situation, yeah, I will give it a try and I will get that bundle for a month or two, see how it is. So I think this is coincidental. But like you said, if they do something on the Play Online and they're matching what's happening now on Mog Station, maybe that lends a little more credence to the situation.
Kronos, thoughts?
I think it's coincidental, personally. I
think you're all freaking wrong. You're all freaking wrong.
I hope for your sake I'm wrong. Yeah,
I know you've been talking about this for
I honestly thought it was going to be part of the 20th anniversary of Vanna DL's announcement. I thought that was going to be their big announcement, because knowing that they weren't going to do much with the game, if anything, it looked like at that time with the mobile remaster, redo, re-HD, pretty it up partnership that had ended, so it kind of put the stake in getting any real update to the game itself. So I thought, well, if you want to announce something big for the 20th anniversary, which they kept saying they wanted to, that was really your only thing left. And unless you intend to shut 11 down, there's zero downside besides maybe a couple of bucks to change the payment processing piece on 11 over to Final Fantasy XIV's. There's zero downside to linking them. There's only upside. You're not going to lose any of your FF11 players by unifying them. In fact, maybe some of them will now throw in a few extra bucks to check out 14 if they've always avoided it because they're 11 babies with their friends. That's fine. Maybe some 14 people in between patches will spend the extra $2 or $3, $4 a month, whatever it was, and check out 11 if they've never done it. Nostalgia hounds like me that still play 11 between patches and sub up and drop that sub periodically, it would be infinitely easier to get a couple bucks out of me every month. So to me, there was nothing but upside unless you planned to shut Final Fantasy XI down to spending a few bucks to change. And if I say a few bucks, knowing that it's not a small expense, but it is as far as Square Enix's pocketbook to update the payment thing. I agree with both of you, though. I think as silly as I want to be and as much as I think it's an intelligent idea, I think this is coincidental. I think the real thing to watch is if Final Fantasy XI changes a payment processor. Because if they change payment processor and it's anybody but the processor they're putting 14 on, then you know it's dead in the water. And if they change the processor to the same payment processor, they've literally taken away their own only excuse to why they haven't done this already, which means they're paving the way to do it. And I don't think, the only thing I disagree with you, Tark, on is I don't think it necessarily has to come with a rework or a revamp or an update of 11 to do it, because there is no potential downside besides the initial spend to change processors. You either make nothing extra or you make extra. It's one or the other. I don't know. I'm still holding out hope. Yeah, I'm still.
I'm hopeful for it too, and maybe with that supposed announcement we get on the 7th or whatever, that we get some good news regarding 11. I'm hopeful for you.
Bet we have a show that week. Bet. We're taking the 16th off, not the 9th. we will be here February 9th. Because if there is a show on the 7th, a lot of us are going to be stunned.
I might need to do something live on for that. Just
the fact that they go live with a show on the 7th, I'd be like, holy shit, something was right. Like the rest of it could totally be wrong, and I'd be like, damn.
Like if you want to do a show on the 7th and live react, I'm there for it. So
what's that? It's a Tuesday. Yeah, you know what? I will do it with you. Yeah, if they actually do some 35th anniversary stream announcement thing, and it is on the 7th, as the leak says. Yeah, you and I and Kronos, if you're available, obviously, all three of us can jump on. We'll do a live react to it.
That might be a raid day for me, but if it's not,
that's fine. That's fine. I'll be there. Yeah, no pressure. It'll be totally an optional thing. Last thing before we leave Final Fantasy XIV, congratulations to Fusion. Got his house. I saw it on Twitter. My boy Andrew, he was here for Jeopardy, which we still have to have the final round of that. Got his house. Tark, I don't think we actually got the update from you. How did your 50-50 chance go when we parted ways on the last show?
This sounds bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, it didn't end as a 50-50 chance. It ended as a 25% chance, and I didn't win. So I have this 40 mil sitting in my pocket, and I'm like, I just want a house.
There's a house right next to our house, right on my server, boy, if you want one.
The good news is that so many people moved residential districts.
Yeah.
That when the next lotto comes up, there's going to be some opportunities then as well. So
Newest girl
try
saying,
again.
"Come to Dynamis. There's empty plots everywhere."
Yeah, it's a new data center, of course there is.
Yeah, housing basically, becoming the game's PvP. Apparently,
Always has been.
Like
Yeah.
it's always been rough. And
I mean-
this is one of those, hey, don't know exactly how true this is, but it's damn funny. And we all know Final Fantasy XIV housing is a mess and has been since the dawn of Final Fantasy XIV housing. This coming from Hisoka on Twitter, didn't know housing had turned into a capture the point PvP zone. And if you can't read that, it's an estate profile. Named it, never gonna use this. And the greeting is, wasn't here to buy, just wanted to see the pool, but your free company threatened me relentlessly. Are you laughing now? Proudly paying this sub to let this rot.
Well, I mean, he could pay a sub, but Demolition's back on, so he's got to do something with it every once in a while.
All you gotta do is walk in. That's
You just gotta
literally
walk in.
all Demolition requires you to do is walk in.
I know.
Just walk into your damn house. Yeah, exactly. Chat's got it. You just got to walk inside. Unreal. Like, I don't
phone
know.
Reminder every month.
I don't know. You'll get an email. I actually
email
got
you.
one.
Oh,
I actually
wow.
got one like very, very early when Demolition, and I was doing so much other shit. And they first activated Demolition. You get an email that's like, hey, you have 9 days. Or whatever it is, or we're going to demolish your house, so go log in. And then you walk in, and it gives you a message that auto demolition has been canceled just by walking in.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is the level of petty you aspire to be. I don't know whose side of this I'm on. The buyer? I'm definitely not on the free company's side, right? Like,
Oh,
that's
hell no.
just dumb to me. But
That's
people
just
do
rude.
it all the time. To me, this is kind of a W for the buyer. Like, I want to be, this is really petty and passive aggressive. And I want to feel for like some other free company or person that really wanted to buy a plot and now can't because this plot's taken, assuming there are no other plots available.
This is also a large house. I should have pointed that out.
Yeah, I should have pointed that out. It is large.
Yeah.
Only a few of those. They're scarce.
I mean, this does kind of slap around people that had nothing to do with the fight, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's some casualties that did not need to be casualties for sure.
they got caught in the crossfire. But damn, is that a great estate profile placard?
It is.
I love it.
Good times.
All right, let's talk about other Square Enix news here. We got a concert that's actually never been to America. Excuse me, I'm starting to burp. The one and only official piano concert from Final Fantasy is coming to America in March of this year. And you can check out the dates and locations on their site. The usual suspects abound, and it ranges anywhere from March 3rd through March 30th, so the entire month. San Francisco, LA, Dallas, Miami, blah, blah, blah. The closest it gets to me, gang, is Philly. I think that's the closest to you too, Kronos?
Yeah.
Tark, what's the closest one to you?
Vegas, but it's like 12-hour drives. I'd have to do a flight. It's not happening.
Oh man, I really would not mind seeing this. And for the first time in America, you're gonna hear Valse di Fantastica from Final Fantasy XV, actually supervised by Yoko Shimomura, and A New Horizon, the Tavnazian Archipelago music from Final Fantasy XI. Oh, Hitoshi Sakamoto, and a bunch of other classics that have been performed here in various concerts. I would absolutely love to go. Have you guys ever gone to Distant Worlds or the Mages? It don't count going to FanFest or anything like that where the Mages perform. I'm talking about the specific touring concerts. Have you ever been to one, Kronos?
I've been to 2 Distant Worlds, and I've seen the Black
jealous.
Mages play before they broke up. So I've seen Nobuo live,
Nice.
which was pretty awesome. And then I've seen 2 Distant Worlds, both in North Carolina. So not that far from me.
Yeah, they are going to be in Minneapolis, newest girl. I might have to find a way to do a business trip. My day job's corporate office is in Minneapolis. So I might have to be like,
Fly
hey,
me out.
I got a meeting. What meeting? Meeting you. What? Yeah, I need to meet you.
Oh, it's over. We need to.
We need to
meet
talk,
face-to-face at
but
least once.
we need to talk, but I also have to leave early that day. I'm gonna fly to Minneapolis. We'll have a meeting, but I need it to end an hour and a half early. Tark, ever been?
No,
I mean,
always
obviously
wanted to
not
go.
this one, but like Distant
Yeah.
Worlds and stuff.
Never been to a Distant Worlds. I've always wanted to go to one. Just never had the opportunity. I'm hoping to get FanFest tickets so I can see the primals. So let's nail that one down first, I guess.
Distant Worlds finally comes. See, Pittsburgh's a weird city. Like for a long time, before the PPG Paints Arena was built years ago, we had just the Civic Arena, and it was such an outdated facility that most concerts skipped us because they didn't have the tech inside the building that most of the concerts expected to be part of the regular tech package. So it was either the concert brings it with them or they don't come. And so they didn't come.
Yeah, that's how it is here.
We still got concerts, no doubt, big concerts, but there were like Taylor Swift didn't stop here, right? You know, now she will. Carrie Underwood did not stop here. Now she's actually coming up at the PPG Paints.
Yeah. Boise's not a premier destination,
right? They're not like Las Vegas, New York, Chicago, and then Boise, fucking Idaho.
Yeah, they don't really stop at Richmond that much either. I mean, we have the Coliseum. Wrestling was really popular here when I was growing up. Like wrestling was here all the time.
Yeah, wrestling never stopped coming to Pittsburgh. It always is here. WWE is always freaking here. They stopped doing pay-per-views here. They are looking, I think, at doing a future one here now with the arena. But
I think the bigger ones now, they do them like straight up arenas. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, so I've seen Distant Worlds. They actually came through probably about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, something like that, and they performed at our symphony orchestra building in the cultural district downtown. It was such a great concert. I bought all of the CDs that I didn't have because there were like unless I wanted to order them online and pay a little bit of a premium plus shipping. It was like I found the 1 and 3 or whatever it was from Distant Worlds, and I'm like, I have those on the shelf. And I went to the concert, and they were all there, and it was just like straight cash, homie. And I was like, I got you.
I did that too. I did the same thing the first time I went. Yeah,
just fill all the gaps right from the concert. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So yeah, piano concert coming to America in March. Don't think I'm going to get to see it, but whatever. Hey, we're not going to review this whole list, but keeping on Final Fantasy, we did talk last week about a game site's top 10 Final Fantasy games of all time list and how they had Final Fantasy XIII at the top of it. And they were more focused on story. To be fair, their list was not like all encompassing. It was more focused on story. Well, Destructoid put out their list. Timothy Montbleu put out the 10 best Final Fantasy games ranked. So this is all encompassing. And gents, I got to tell you, Final Fantasy XIII doesn't make the list at all. It doesn't make Timothy's list at all. And again, I don't know if this is just Timothy or if this is the staff and, Timothy wrote it, whatever the case may be. 13 doesn't make the list at all. Who did? The very first Final Fantasy comes in at 10. FF12 in the 9th spot. FF10 in the 8th spot. And now we also see some differences here where they're willing to include MMOs as Final Fantasy XIV comes in at number 7. Final Fantasy IV, Tark's favorite, comes in at 6. Final Fantasy V at 5. Final Fantasy VII at number 4. At number 4.
Interesting.
So I'm going to stop there. Have you guys looked at the list?
I looked at it when you posted
I looked
it.
at it.
Okay, so you both looked. Then never mind.
Yeah.
I should have put a note not to look. Because now that I've already given you Final Fantasy IV is on the list, Final Fantasy VII is at the 4th spot, Final Fantasy XII is on there. When we get to the top 3, and you know that they're also including other
Spin-offs and-
things, Final Fantasy XIV, who's in the top 3 then? Who's still missing? I think number 1 is pretty obvious when you see the rest of the list. Final Fantasy VI is the big one that's missing, right? We already had 4, we already had 7. Final Fantasy VI is at the number 1 spot. Final Fantasy Tactics, number 2, and Final Fantasy IX, the quote-unquote throwback Final Fantasy, in the number 3 spot. What do you think of this list, Tark? Yours coming in a little lower than you, I would know personally, would like. But what about the rest of the list?
As a ranking, 4 is in the same spot I would have it, actually. So it would be, for me, from 1 to 6. You got 6, Tactics, 7, 10, and 14. And then 4 would be number 6.
I'm not gonna to count, not only saying the list is ass, but highlighting it in chat. I don't know if I should comment on the confusingness of your favorite Final Fantasy of all time not being number 1 on your list of best Final Fantasy games of all time.
So what can be my favorite and what can objectively be on my number 1 can be two totally different things.
I'm going to actually side with Tark on his Finn sitting here, actually. I think that's a very true point. I think
I agree, but I wanted him to say it, not me. I didn't.
Okay.
That's why I posed the question. I think he's dead on. I have some favorite games that are absolutely fucking terrible.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all do.
I have some amazing movies that if you come over, I'm going to make you watch, and you're going to wonder why I love them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
What do they call that?
So bad it's good.
Guilty pleasures. Guilty pleasures. That's what
I don't think the list is terrible. It definitely doesn't coincide with 1. I honestly think it's weird having Tactics on there.
It throws a wrench in it, I guess. I think this is infinitely better than the last list.
Oh, it's 100% better than the last list.
I
do agree with the first Final Fantasy being on here. I have a feeling that's more of just like a nod.
Oh, absolutely. That game's not that good.
Yeah, because it's not great. Yeah. It's not great. There are actual better versions of 1 in the mainline series.
13's a better game than Final Fantasy 1. I'll say it. It is.
I can get behind that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Takal in chat actually points out Final Fantasy III being a better one, and I don't disagree with that, and apparently neither does the author reading the comments. I can't help it, I love this janky game. While some consider Final Fantasy III to be the better NES title, Final Fantasy I is so charming and basic that I find myself replaying it every few years. It's right up there with Dragon Quest as a palate cleanser to fit between complex games with nuanced game systems. It's not a great way to get into the series nowadays, but every RPG fan should get knocked down by Garland at least once. The real question is, what version do you play? So it's more of a nod.
It's a nostalgia thing.
Yeah.
And it's like because it's like the OG thing. It's not because it's good. Yeah. Which is why it wouldn't be like if I was making a best Final Fantasy list, because when you use the word best, I feel like then you're taking into account of like what's the best game, not what's the games that everybody should play, because that's also a different list. Like I don't know, it's like I mean, this is a different series, but like GoldenEye, right? Probably like one of the best first-person shooters ever made. Nobody should play that game today. Just don't, because it's like nostalgia at its finest. Because when you go play that game, it's actually not good anymore. But like if you
pass, let's say that.
But if you played it back in like 1998, it was awesome.
I disagree with you on that front. You got to play GoldenEye 6. You have to. You have to play GoldenEye. I mean, yeah, there's that remake coming out. The original still holds up. It was pioneering as far as the control scheme, and that control scheme is still used in most FPSs today.
When's the last time you played it, Mike?
Oh, it's not like something I whip it out and just play every night, but I'm not going to tell somebody, nah, don't play it.
I'm
just appreciate it for its history.
I feel like most people that say what you're saying have not played GoldenEye in the last decade.
Oh, I've played GoldenEye within the last 10 years.
Okay.
Far in the last 10
Okay.
years. My son Torchwick was, as he's growing through his teens, is very retro gaming. So I've introduced him to all of them.
I loved that game in 1998. It was awesome.
OG ran at like 12 FPS. Get out of here. I don't care. Go play it. Don't listen to any of these guys. Go play it. Go play it. Speaking of best game ever, Forspoken came out this week.
Woo.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the word we're supposed to be using?
Yeah.
Or
the reviews,
Like
I will tell you what, man. The reviews are absolutely mediocre.
mixed.
They're just mediocre AF. Mediocre. On the PlayStation 5, critics giving it a 67 right now with 72 reviews. Users with over 400 reviews clocking in at a 3.7. We'll come back to that in just a second. On the PC, critics really aren't posting reviews for it yet. One
they just got
did.
their codes today.
Yeah, one did, and they gave it a 50, so it has no Metascore yet. Users, based on over 100 ratings, put the PC version at a 2. So, I mean, the PlayStation 5's almost double.
Yeah. Probably a more stable experience.
Almost double. Here's the thing I'm seeing, though. I'm not seeing it's a terrible game, it's awful, don't play it. It's like everything I'm seeing, like, okay, first off, setting aside PC issues, we'll come back to that in a second. That's a different reason to give it a bad review on the PC in my book. But the people that have been able to play it at stable rates on PC or PlayStation 5 and played it are like, eh. It's very little character development. The writing is kind of basic. Feels like maybe, a teenage fan fiction type level of fantasy writing and character and plot development. But there's been worse in the fantasy world. There's been better in the fantasy world. And there are worse ways to kill 15 hours if you want to just buzz through the story, and 25 to 30 hours if you want to do a bunch of side stuff along the way. The bunch of side stuff may be repetitive and very similar, even if the environments change, but like everything is just a resounding meh.
God.
Meh.
It's a call.
You will say that even your weaker backup PC, you ran into no issues so far. You're in performance seems fine for you. Yeah, you're in the minority on that one. Just go look at the online reviews. The PC performance is getting slammed up and down the board. Up and down the board, from people with claiming high-end specs and equipment, having frame rate issues if anything is moving on screen, to the game flat out just crashing and not running in some circumstances. The reviews for PC on Metacritic, Steam, everything are just lambasting this for being another Square Enix PC port, of which all three of us predicted.
Yeah, crazy. It was really hard to predict. Their track record did not speak to it at all.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't know. I think this is one I'll pick up eventually, but it's going to be an on-sale thing.
Yep.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, everybody's in the same spot. Like, I'm in no hurry to get an average fantasy zone out and have a little bit of a collect-a-thon fun night or two,
I think it's going to have to be like $20-$30 on sale, somewhere in that range.
Yeah,
buy
there's-
it,
30, 40.
And I might forget about it by the time it goes on sale, to be honest. So
yeah, there is absolutely no way that, in my mind, they can justify the $70 price tag on this one. It's not good enough for that. It's not nearly high-end enough performance-wise. It's not pushing the boundaries narratively or gameplay-wise or system-wise. Like, no, I'm $25, $30. You probably got me
right where
because
you
you're
are.
because you're Square Enix, and I'll toss you some money, and knowing I'm getting an average, 2 or 3 day RPG to have some fun with. It's like a tuna sandwich. It is. It's kind of like, yeah. It does its job, but when I'm done, that's good, Takal. It does its job, but when you're done playing it a few weeks later, you're probably not going to remember it. Which, I'm going to be fair, Tark, is actually a little better than I expected this to be.
I know. Just a roller coaster for this game. And I was excited for it. I've been like saying I've been excited for it for over a year, and it just kept pushing it back, and just made me more and more nervous. And then the beginning of the promotional series was just like, okay, what is this? And then it started to trend upwards, and then we've seen some middling responses, and the demo didn't do it any favors, really. It was like you either were going to love it already, or you were like it didn't push the needle either way. So it was like, I like the reviews, the user reviews, though, because it's either they love it and it's a 9 and a 10, or they hate it and it's a 0 or 1. There's very little in between.
It's stupidly, and chat's talking about the same thing at the same time, except with players on Twitter, not reviewers. Yeah, it is stupidly divisive in some places where it's like, you could be just an average okay game. Like, it's okay. That's all right. You're allowed to.
Can Square Enix allow that though? Do they?
Well, exactly.
No,
I think
selling
this
the
is
studio.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I think having an average game is fine.
Yep, I think this is going to be another one where they turn around, and even if let's say it does 1 million copies, which I think is incredibly optimistic, but let's say it does 1 million copies, Square Enix is going to turn around and say this did not meet expectations. Yeah. I think that's inevitable and has been since before the game came out, that Forspoken is going to fail to meet expectations.
Yeah,
as far as Square Enix.
I mean, if this is a tuna sandwich, I don't know what Guardians of the Galaxy was, but that was a failure, and that won awards.
Yeah.
So,
and Newest Girl's right. Luminous can't afford an okay title aligned with Square Enix right now. They needed a slam dunk, and this isn't it.
Yeah, which brings me to do we think that maybe this is Luminous Studios and the engine's last foray? Are we not going to see a Luminous production anymore?
I don't.
15 right out of the gate wasn't all that great, and they had to dump a lot of money to get that into a.
Yeah, but they've always been willing to throw money after the mainline Final Fantasy numbers to rescue them as much as they can. See Final Fantasy XIV. I honestly think this would be dropped very quickly. I think this would be, okay, we're done. They're not going to put money. If there's things to, they're obviously working right now to try and stabilize PC performance. That's something they just have to do. But in terms of long-term support, no. I honestly, it's only been out for what, a day and a half, but I see this being forgotten by many very quickly.
Yeah.
Including Square, and I don't know where that leaves Luminous. Kronos, am I crazy? Am I nuts?
No, I think that's probably mostly spot on. I think there's also probably something to be said about the way it was marketed toward Western audiences. They might see that as kind of like a failure too. Backtrack on some of that stuff because this was
this
game
always
was made for the West, right?
That's always Square Enix's default, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, and what about all those games you marketed directly at Japan and China to get that mobile gotcha money that closed within 13 months or less? Yeah, you're right. Those were probably geared towards a Western audience too. Square. Those were probably. That's why they failed.
If they had attached,
even though they weren't ever released here. What's that?
If they had attached NFTs to this, I would have saved that project. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
The CEO is all aboard on that. Let's go.
Oh my god. Okay. I do have to put a caveat on this last bit of Forspoken news. This is what I'm going to show you, and we're going to talk about briefly, is not new. Every game does it.
For years.
Every movie does it. Every TV show does it. Basically, anything that tries to get you to buy into it does it. Some have done it subtly. Some haven't needed to do it as much because the quotes meant what the quotes meant. But right now we're watching Forspoken's launch trailer, which includes quotes from a number of media outlets. Now, I'm going to tell you how this typically works from the background because we get this over at MMO Bomb. We'll do a first look video or an editorial write-up of a game. We don't do strictly 1 through 10 reviews, but we do say positive and negative things about games. Review style, we just don't assign a score in a first look video. And we will get contacted. Hey, Mike, saw your first look on X game. We're the company behind it. And normally the email is not a surprise. I don't know who it is because I've been communicating with them to get access to the game early or whatever, PR material, stuff like that. So it comes from somebody I know. And they say, we like this quote. we would like to use this, and they'll use it in trailers or on their website and advertising banners, or they'll put it in ads that they're going to sell and put on MMO sites and things like that. And typically what happens, they will give me the quote that they want to use. They will ask, can we use it? Can we attribute it to MMO Bomb as a direct quote? And do we have your permission to use it in X, Y, and Z, which maybe includes videos, marketing materials, ads, etc. There is no payment compensation for this. I'm not saying nobody's ever been bribed or paid or anything. There might be contractual agreements with bigger sites where they are paid, but I have never been even offered payment or a reward for doing so. It's just we want to use this. Are you okay with it? Yes or no? I have said yes to every single one except one. I'm not going to tell you who, but they tried to do what is done in the Forspoken trailer here, where they took a portion of something that was said, and by itself, it presented an idea that was almost the exact opposite of the idea I had expressed if you read the full quote. And so I declined. I declined to let them use it. I said no. Every other time, I've never been bamboozled where I'm like, this is impressively bad, and they put impressively, mmobomb.com. That's never happened to me. So besides the one that tried to do it, and I said no. Well, it seems that's what's going on here with Forspoken, as Nick Verge on Twitter decided to look into, and it was based off of Derek Liu's research. Where there's some quotes in here. And again, everybody does this, but to what degree is what you got to be careful for. Ad men and women get paid to get your attention. Beautiful comes from a preview is quoted in the trailer as belonging to Distractify. That wasn't written in a review. That was written in a December preview of Forspoken. And it wasn't saying that the Forspoken was, in fact, beautiful at the time, but it had the potential to be a beautiful story-driven game that will pull at your heartstrings with each new chapter. It was a preview, right? It has the potential to be a beautiful story-driven game. And Sarah Belcher, who did the review, was reached out to by Kotaku, and they were asking about this. And Sarah said, yeah, Square Enix did ask for permission to use the quote, and we approved it. In our actual review, which came later, Sarah says she did actually refer to the game as beautiful. That was her opinion of the game's world since the preview, which is why she didn't personally feel that this particular quote is out of context. And then she said, hey, we don't charge for use of quotes in promotional materials. So, okay. But then there's Game Informer in the trailer calling the game impressive. The problem there is that word doesn't even show up in any hands-on preview that Game Informer did. But a news write-up. It was a news write-up coming from Sony's State of Play show, where Game Informer said, phrase traversal abilities are impressive, allowing for fast movement in and out of combat, both in aerial and aquatic situations. That was a news write-up of what the trailer they showed back at the Sony State of Play, where they said her traversal abilities are impressive. And they just used the word impressive in the trailer. Game Informer did actually review the game and gave it a middling 7.5 out of 10, but nowhere in that review is the word impressive. Instead, they said the main protagonist's phrase overall adventure is not without its highlights. It's just funny sometimes, Kronos. It's just funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's like technically it's correct, but
Yeah. There's no context to those.
No context at all.
Flashed on the screen, but
how dare the internet take things out of context? But yeah, no, it's bad. It's bad. It looks really bad.
I don't even call it bad. It's just like, yeah, that's just.
I mean, you could make
what
this
happens. Like I've seen this with movies for decades.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
for sure.
this isn't nothing new. The fact that Kotaku's making such a huge deal out of this, I was like, whatever, guys.
I feel like this trailer would be good without the text in it. To be honest, I think it's a pretty cool trailer.
Yeah.
And I think it would have just like been fine on its own.
I need to go look at the mobile syrup one because it just says blast. Like what? If you want, it's the very last one. It just says this thing's a blast or something like that. At
least if it's like impressively bad, like they just took like the first one.
An absolute blast. Okay, of what?
Blast, yeah.
Of what? They're like, this one character gets hit by an absolute blast of dragon fire. An absolute blast! They said it!
Or it could have been, this is like getting hit with an absolute blast of cold water. It's just like, ugh.
I don't know. I have to go read Mobile Syrup's take on it, see how that fits in. I just thought it was funny, bring it to the show. I don't want to beat them up too badly for this. All ad agencies do this. But some of these, like, the word impressive wasn't in Game Informer's review at all. At all. It was a news article about the Sony State of Play preview trailer. And it was talking about her move.
Your game.
It was talking about her move capabilities on the map, not even like, hey, that trailer was impressive. Like, nope. Avengers Disassemble. We're done.
Yay.
We're done.
Almost. We're almost there.
Almost. All official support ends on September 30th for Marvel's Avengers. It's getting its last new content patch on March 31st of this year. Earlier than that, or starting on the 31st, you'll no longer be able to make purchases in the game's marketplace. Everything in there, if you have credits, will be transferred into in-game currency, and then everything in the cash up can be purchased there. They're still leaving, I guess this is a good thing if you enjoy the game, right? The single-player multiplayer will stay on. It's not shutting down. It's just going into maintenance mode. So September 30th, no official support for the game at all. And after March 31st, no new content patches coming. Which is sad, I guess, for some fans, because then material got data mined on 2 heroes that were in development, but will never see the light of day. So
I'll miss upgrading the Hulk's rib cage. We'll just leave it at that.
This is the sound of 3 men terribly shocked.
Overdue. That's my keyword for the trailer.
I'm honestly amazed it made it this long. But so that rumor wasn't true then, right? The rumor we talked about a month or so ago was by the end of the year they were going to announce that was the case. They waited till the end of January to announce it instead.
Yeah.
They waited a month just to screw with us.
And finally, Dragon Quest is shutting down. Oh, I guess I should be more specific.
Yeah, clarify. Context.
Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai, A Hero's Bonds, is closing down over the next 2 months here. April 26th, it will no longer be playable. If you have no idea what we're talking about, then you missed our show where we reviewed every live service that has lasted 14 months or less, but got tons of money in the process that you now cannot do anything with from Square Enix. You missed that show, and you should go back. This is another one. This launched September 2001. So this one, I guess, if you want to be technical, made it 16 months to the announcement, and we'll made it 18 months before the actual shutdown. So that's a little better than the half dozen games that have already done this. We would like to offer our sincere thanks to all of our players for your comments and supports up until now. However, following discussions on the challenges and practicalities of delivering the same standard in the future, we made a very difficult decision to end the service. AKA, we're not, it's done. It made its money.
Yeah.
Oh, 2000, did I say 2001? No, 2021 is when it came out. Yeah, 2021. So yet another one bites the dust. Let's go do Love It or Leave It.
Let's do that.
There's a segue. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much. Love It or Leave It is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here. It's where I give you something Square Enix related. Could be a game, a feature in a game, something in a press release that they've done. And I ask the panel whether you love it, want more of it, or leave it, throw it away, never to be seen again. Gentlemen, I'm going to get a little esoteric on you. We're not going to talk about a game. We're not going to talk about a press release. We're not going to talk about Forspoken even though it just came out. I'm going to ask you right now. We talked about some goofy news with the way Square handles live services and how they should never, ever right now be trusted with a live service, not to screw you over in a very short amount of time. And the selling of Western studios and the encouragement in NFTs. All of the goods and bads. Square Enix stock right now, if you were a shareholder, Tark, would you love it and hang on to it? Or would you leave it and it's time to sell?
As a shareholder?
You're an existing
right this moment.
Shareholder at this exact
right this moment. Right
you
now,
you have a not inconsiderable investment there. Do you love it and hold on to it, knowing that Final Fantasy XVI comes out later this year? Final Fantasy XIV is heading into a 10-year anniversary. This year is the 35th anniversary. If you're a really connected shareholder that's not involved in insider trading like other Square Enix employees, maybe you know some of those things on the rumor list are true or not. You've got a lot of buzz.
If anybody wants any information,
16's going to sell. 16's going to sell like crazy.
It is.
Do you love the stock enough to keep it and weather through that, or do you leave it right now?
I guess from a stock perspective, like right now, things can't be any lower, which is the time you want to buy,
they can.
Right?
Yeah, they can, and they have been for Square. So I don't think you want to go far down that rabbit hole.
I'm just saying the future looks bright, at least for 2023. So right now, I guess I would have to say now's a good time to buy for the future because the perspective.
Yeah, I didn't want to give you the perspective of somebody that didn't own stock because I think, you go, hey, Final Fantasy's right around 16's right around the corner. Of course you buy and then you sell right after that. I'm saying you're an existing shareholder. You've come this far. Do you ride it out?
Yeah, if you dump right now, you're taking a loss, in my opinion. So you hold on, you weather the storm. Maybe you buy a little more because this next year, and if you know a little extra, buy even more. I mean, that's been okay, right? Like,
what you got, Kronos? Love it or leave it? Existing shareholder.
I mean, I think I would say love it and just sell it after Rebirth comes out. So wait through like 16, and then the remake, and then just sell after that. Because after that,
you have expansion.
Well, maybe, but after that, you're also probably in NFT land. So
yeah.
I would probably say love it right now, but I'm getting out after Rebirth comes out.
All right, so you got Tark hanging on, you got you hanging on to Rebirth, both love it, but Kronos, you're a little less love. It's kind of like, I love the idea of us. I don't know if I love us. It's like one of those weird relationships. We're not ready to call it off, but I'm not exactly sure where this is going. Faye's ready for the stream after the show, and I just see her nodding in Discord. Yep. Son of a bitch. Yep. I think I'm going to phrase mine in I love it short term. I leave it long term. Obviously, in the short term, you've got Rebirth, you've got Final Fantasy XVI, you've got some other odds and ends, whether it's that full crazy rumor list or maybe just a piece or two of it. Those are all good things that are going to bump. I honestly think what you're probably hoping for most, if I'm an existing, not insubstantial stockholder, 16, Rebirth, 14 to do its thing. Maybe you pick up one or two of those rumors on the list as just gravy, and then the company is sold. I think that's what you're like. If you believe that they're going to be bought, then you love it until they are bought. That, you hang on, baby, until they are bought. If that's what you believe. If sold, who buys it? We've had that conversation before. I think most of us believe Sony would be the most likely one, but they're in a challenging position to do so right now, having acquired Bungie. So, go back a couple episodes. I think we talked about that. So, I'm going to love it short term, love it, maybe even medium term, long term. I don't like their overall strategy where the company wants to go, even though they're not exactly there or going there quickly right now. Long term, I think I leave it. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and of course, chime in on every wonderful topic we've had today. And if you're playing Forspoken, let us know your reviews. Is it right around the average mark that everybody's putting it? And in fact, should you, as somebody who's never played GoldenEye, go play GoldenEye on the N64?
Yeah, you could yell at me afterwards.
Yell at him in the comments.
Then go play Perfect Dark afterward. Tell me which
But
one's
chat,
better.
don't go do that right now, because right after this show, we're going to have Faye Death. She's coming back in with another stream. What's up, Faye? How are you?
What up? I'm well. How about you?
Have you played GoldenEye?
I have, and you absolutely should do that, and I advocate multitasking.
Good.
So, yeah.
Takao giving Forspoken a rating of tuna sandwich out of 10. I think that's fair. What are you playing today, Faye?
We are back to the punishing world of Icewind Dale, because I finally started to figure it out last week. Now it's fun.
I love that those games.
Baron wants to know what's your favorite jank game, Faye. We were talking about all having guilty pleasures. We didn't get into ours. We'll get into them on another show, I guess. But what is your favorite, like, jank-ass, God, nobody likes this game but me?
Oh, y'all already know the answer to that. It's Anthem.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty jank. Yeah,
Yeah, I have the best one. Yes, it is
I
absolutely
don't think I care to know you anymore.
My God.
We went through
Anthem
this when the-
outlasted Avengers.
See?
Think about
True.
that.
Uh-huh.
Anthem was born first and will die last.
Uh-huh.
You can still
crazy.
play
The
Anthem.
Highlander of jank. For now.
Oh, man. All right, Icewind Dale, don't go anywhere, chat. Give us a few minutes to just switch things over and get Faye set up. We'll, of course, be back next Thursday with an episode of the Relic Grind, 7 p.m. Eastern here on twitch.tv/ReadyCheckRadio. Don't miss Gaming Gumbo, our weekly gaming wrap-up Saturday. That podcast is also at 7 p.m., so just 2 days from now. Until the next Relic Grind, Kronos, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, all Twitter all the time. This weekend's going to be pretty exciting. So I'm starting Ultimate, and I get to watch, hopefully, a good football game. Or hopefully 2 good football games.
Hopefully. Tark?
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at Tarkoth Gaming, and on Saturday nights here on Ready Check Radio. This weekend, I'll be finishing Voice of Cards, the Forspoken Maiden.
Wow. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there, Magic Man 1, but more importantly, follow at MMO. God. I'm not on the Always Online podcast. That's tomorrow. At RC Radio. You'll know every time we go live with a stream or podcast. Until next time, I love you all. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers later.